Welcome back to the Good Business Witch podcast. I am your host, Megan Winkler, and I just want to welcome you to what is close to the end of Mercury retrograde. It has been a wild ride, right? Just as a review real quick, Mercury controls telecommunications, electronics, communication, just like talking to people in general, and transportation. So if you've had any of those snafus, we have Mercury retrograde to thank. But we are almost out. We are so close. And then I think we only have to deal with it again in December. I think one more time this year. So we'll be there together. Anyway, I hope you are doing well. I hope this podcast episode is finding you as happy as possible and as healthy as possible. And today we're going to be talking about discovering your unique value proposition, your unique value prop, or your UVP. So let's just dive right on in. A lot of times we have a hard time differentiating our UVP. So our UVP is really just the thing that makes us stand out from the crowd. So there are tons of marketers out there, right? And there are marketers who are like really driven by KPIs, key performance indicators. They're really driven by metrics, all that. They're really driven by numbers. Like they want to see huge numbers in following, huge numbers in visible engagement, all that. Then there are other marketers that are more like myself who want to look at those KPIs, right? Because they're really valuable data. But what we're really looking at is like the engagement rate, like behind the scenes, like who you're DMing with, what your email is looking like in terms of like how interested people are. I'm not so much worried about how many likes you have on Instagram because likes don't pay the bills. And I don't really care how many people are following you on Threads. I mean, it's kind of fun to see those big old numbers, but if those big numbers aren't paying you for your services or your goods, then really they're just numbers that don't really mean anything, right? So my unique value proposition is that I am more of a relationship person over a hard numbers person when it comes to marketing. And I really want to make sure that my clients feel comfortable being visible and being authentic. I want to make sure that my clients are, getting those quality conversations and that quality engagement, not just, a viral moment, because very few viral moments actually end up working out to be something other than just a viral moment. And when they do, they're like the hot Tua girl, which I think is just like, I might be off, but I think that's just like her talking about spitting on a penis before sex. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, she went viral for a little bit and had her 15 minutes of fame and like, I don't know, got some publicity deals out of it or whatever, but that very rarely happens, right? So virality online it's a pretty number, but it's not going to lead to sales in most cases. It might lead to one or two. So really embracing that unique value prop, like I come to the table with my clients and I'm like, yeah, I want you to feel confident. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to lean into your intuition. There's a lot of marketers out there that are like, no, this is what we know works and this is what we're going to do. I believe in magic. I believe in intuition. I believe in bringing your creative self to your business. And I also bring, astrology and Reiki into it. Like you're going to get energy healing if you work with me one-on-one. That's my unique value prop. So what's yours? Like what's your spin on what you do in the industry, right? So it might be that you're a massage therapist, but you weave in a really cool practice that like not a lot of people understand or use. It might be that you're a reflexologist, right? As well as a massage therapist. So, talking about what makes you different and why that's important to your client's overall experience, it's a great way to establish your unique value prop. The problem with that is we get so used to like what we do that it doesn't feel unique because it's inside of us, right? So if you own a business, if you think about where you're at right now, and then you think about where you were like 2 years ago or maybe 5 years ago, you have seen that whole journey. So for you, it might look chaotic, or it might look like you've gone through a lot of different cycles, but on the outside, it's not going to look that way because you've seen every single little detail. It's kind of like that whole thing where we talk about, social media is the highlight reel and you're not seeing the stuff going on behind the scenes. This is the truth. I'm actually going to share something with you that I've only shared with like a couple of people this week. Thank you, Mercury, because it's transportation related. My husband was in a car accident. I'm not posting about this online because it doesn't like further my business. But, between you and me, because I know you care enough about me and my message and my work to know some of the behind the details stuff. It's the same thing with my newsletter audience. Like, these are people that have worked with me before or would really like to work with me in the future, who like are invested in things with me. So he is fine. It was just a really big old mess, and it was very scary because it was a kind of a high-speed accident, and it likely totaled his car. But like, I'm not going to be posting about that online, right? So people are seeing the highlights of my week. They're not seeing that, So the same thing is true with your unique value prop, is that you see yourself all the time. So sometimes it's really, really important and absolutely necessary to sit down with somebody that can look at you and your business from the outside and to say, wait a second, nobody's doing it like that. Wait a second, you weave what into this? Are you kidding me? This is amazing. Like, I don't know, maybe you're a meditation teacher who teaches breathing exercises and you actually do underwater basket weaving because it teaches patience and breath control. I mean, I don't know, but that would be a UVP right there. So I would really love to invite you to sit down and kind of think about what you're doing differently and also why you're doing it differently. Because you're likely not just doing something for the hell of it. You're likely doing it because you believe it works differently, it works better, that sort of thing. And that's a great thing to include in your marketing and your sales processes, is to actually talk about why you do things the way you do. And you're going to stand out in the crowd, right? So they're going to be like, wait, I want to work with this underwater basket weaver a meditation teacher, right? Because it's like, she's going to teach me like all the patience in the world. She's going to teach me all the breath control, and I'm going to have this beautiful basket afterwards. You know what I mean? So how can you discover your unique value proposition? So there's a few things that you can do. So first, know your target audience. And this is your ideal customer, somebody that you've already had an interaction with, or somebody that's like in your community that you would love to work with. So don't just create somebody out of thin air. Really sit down and think about who your favorite customers and clients are, what their qualities are, and you can kind of aim for those. Another way to do it is the second thing you need to do really is identify your strengths. And I am big on strengths-based planning. And in fact, when you start working with me one-on-one, you get a strengths assessment from me. And we actually take that into consideration because that tells me automatically like what you're really good at and what you need help with, because then I can meet you where you're at. Right? Like if you're amazing at organization, then I probably just need to do like a little temp check on your organization. I don't need to like walk you through everything. But if you are severely disorganized and that is not showing up on your strengths radar, then I can step in and help you. Like, it's just a great way to use our time wisely and to maximize your strengths. So understand what your strengths are. Third, analyze your competitors. And yes, I am so big on community and so big on collaborations. And I also know that I am competing against other marketing strategists in the market, right? I am competing with larger agencies, right? I am competing with boutique agencies even, because I am one person and I'm here to come in and strategize, and I will help you find the other people. Like, I have a whole network of people, but none of them work for me. So I don't have an agency. So I would be looking at them to see what they're offering, but also be looking at individual marketing strategists as well to kind of see what they're doing, what they're saying, and not so much to say, oh, I'm doing it differently, but to notice where those differences are so I can highlight those differences. And you don't have to be, catty about it, and you don't have to call anybody out. Specifically or anything like that, but just kind of knowing where those differences are so you can talk about those differences is such a key in your marketing and in talking about what you do. And finally, number 4 is you need to be solving a problem. I love the concept of Ikigai, which is, sounds like an icky guy. Sorry. It is a Japanese concept. Ikigai is a Japanese concept about the purpose of your life. And so you've probably seen this diagram. I'm going to post one on Instagram this week. And it is where it's like the 4 circle Venn diagram, and it's like your passion, what you're good at, what you can get paid for, and what you love doing. And like these all overlap in different ways. So one of the things to consider when you're pursuing this balance is, are you solving a problem that people are going to pay for? And maybe that problem is I just don't have enough handbags. Totally cool. And I said it in that voice because I have too many handbags. Like, I will admit, that is a weak spot for me. I love a good purse, and I have so many of them. It's ridiculous. But maybe the problem is, like, I just happen to think of one of my favorite personal products is Coco Floss. I love Coco Floss dental floss. That just hopped in my mind, right? And it's like, you got to floss your teeth. You got to keep yourself clean and healthy. And yeah, it solves a problem, and it does something a little different. Actually, Coco Floss is a great example, because their unique value prop is that they actually have the little string, the floss itself, if you've never used it, actually increases in size when it gets wet. So as you're using it, it actually increases in size. It also has coconut oil in it, and coconut oil is a microbial, antimicrobial. So like, instead of antibiotic, antimicrobial substance. And so it actually fights bacteria, it fights infection, all of that. So it's like cleaning one way, cleaning a second way. And so that's a unique value prop. And then their marketing is super cute. It's Coco Floss. When I got the first package, like I ordered directly from them because they were really hard to find online. It came with like this little sticker and like this little sticker of this tooth in like a hula skirt. And, everything's like coconut or strawberry or tangerine or mint or whatever, like all these fun, different flavors. And everything's brightly packaged, right? So they're really leaning into like, they're doing things differently. They're fun. They're hip. Make flossing fun, right? That's their UVP. That is their problem that they are solving. And I'm sure they went through and they analyzed their competitors and said, yeah, you can get the Crest, kind of waxy dental floss. But how can we make this more fun? And how can we make it better? Right? So as you're kind of thinking about what your UVP is, I do want to encourage you to keep it simple. Explain your importance and your differentiating factors with clarity, and keep it concise, right? We start getting lost in long, drawn out descriptions, and we start getting super distracted when we start getting ethereal. Another thing to make sure you do is don't use industry terms. You'll notice here on the podcast, if I say something like CTA, I'm also going to say call to action. And really, if you go on my blog or if you see a Instagram post, something like that, I will say call to action and then put CTA in parentheses. And then after that, I'll just say CTA, right? I've said UVP several times in here, but by now you know that means unique value proposition or unique value prop, right? So be sure that you're not using these industry specific terms because only people in your industry are going to understand what the hell you're talking about. Focus on the benefits, focus on the transformation. Just as we've seen a big shift in the vibes over the past few weeks where people are able to be for a potential president, and not just against a candidate, we have seen that people are coming back to life. And I have friends who were politically active or they were active in the social justice arenas, that just kind of lost their spark for it. It's back now because we really do so much better when we're working towards something, not when we're trying to avoid something. So focus on the benefits. Yes, you can say, hey girl, I understand you need to floss your teeth and it's just boring as hell and you don't like that minty flavor and that waxy feel in your mouth. You can say that. But what is even better is to say, hey, no more waxy, no more waxy feeling in your mouth. With Cocoa Floss, we do and list all the benefits, right? So you just kind of like, bing, like very like quickly touch that quote unquote pain point, right? Where it's just like there's that discomfort and then just talk about the benefits. Use strong language, stand out. I'm not saying cuss. I'm saying, be bold in how you're talking about what you do and the value you provide, and especially the things that you do differently. And then test and refine. Really look at how people are responding to stuff. If people have questions or if there's crickets when you post about it, like that's not maybe the best way to describe your UVP. So play with that a little bit, ask for feedback. Obviously, if you're working with a coach or if you're in a networking group or a mastermind, like bounce that idea off of your people, so that you can really hit that sweet spot. And a great way to look for ideas and for help in how things resonate for you in your business is really with your current clients, your current or past clients, the way they talk about where they're at, where they want to go, and what it's like working with you. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. I'm doing it on the camera for those who are not watching on YouTube. That's the best way to really tap into how you're different and how you help your people. That's what I have for y'all today. Before I sign off, I want to let you know that the Lunar Business Lab is live. It is actually on Substack. I have decided to shift things a little bit. It is going to be on Substack with a community and a podcast attached to it. That podcast is not this podcast and vice versa. And every month you will receive the PDF workbook and guidebook that includes journaling pages, tarot spread, the monthly business astrology forecast, new moon and full moon ritual ideas specific to that month. So they'll be different every month based on the moons that we're dealing with. So you get that every month and you get the community as well. There's a couple of different tiers for that. And I will have that link in the show notes. So if you just want to join and get that PDF every month and kind of be in the community, it's only $10 a month. And then if you want access to all community features, plus the rituals, plus the podcast, I believe it's $25 a month. So like I said, that link will be in the show notes. I would love to welcome you in. We're going to kick things off for real here in September. So you'll be in for a couple of weeks to hang out with the community and you'll get that guide before September 1st. So I'm really excited about it. This feels really manageable for me on my end. It feels really accessible for you on your end. And it's a great way to kind of have a little community where you can get to know other people and interface with them while also getting that astrology guidance that you may be seeking. So let me know if you have any questions, if you have any recommendations for the podcast in terms of subjects or topics, just let me know. You can always reach me at meganwinkler.com or hello@meganwinkler.com. And until next time, my friends, stay magical.